How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to some Nightreign. Today I want to do a little bit of talking about Nightreign. It's 2026 now. Happy New Year, by the way. Hopefully everybody had a good New Year's Eve. Maybe some of you guys are going to be a little hungover from New Year's, so I'll try to be a little quieter. I want to talk about Nightreign because what is the future of Nightreign? Going into 2026 especially, is it a game that just is going to be left in the dust, or is it a game that can still get updates? Because I think this game has a lot of potential still. But we're at an awkward point right now. The DLC came out, quite possibly the only DLC, and we haven't really had any updates regarding more weapons or enemies or bosses. We just had the hard mode boss come out for the balancers, which was really cool. The boss was amazing. So I was definitely happy and surprised to see that, especially so fast. But going into 2026, what more is there to do, right? Like, we haven't been told that there was really going to be more than the one DLC. So at the moment, we're just kind of stuck in an odd position where we have no more bosses to turn into hard mode bosses except for Night Aspect and the Dreadlord. A lot of people have speculated that they might come out, but there's no evidence of that so far. So really, we're just kind of left in the wind. But this game has, like I said, so much potential, and especially had so much potential in the beginning. I think it's lost a little bit of that momentum, especially because the game did very, very well for itself. But it's a game that it's hard to do more with, because the audience of Souls games, it's hard to push stuff that would have made the game, in my opinion, better, which would have made it last longer, and which would have made people actually want to play more, I think. Which is something like, and I know people are going to hate this word, and don't crucify me yet, right? But something like a battle pass. Because there's so many times where I'm playing and people are like, man, I wish this skin from this game was in there. I wish we had this and this and this and this. And there's so many things that people wish they had. Or something like a small battle pass. Let's just say 10 bucks, right? 10 bucks brings in like 5 skins that you can grind for over the course of like a month or two. That gives you a chance to earn these skins. Now, I know people are instantly going to be like, well, they could just release them for free. True, but at the end of the day, it's a company that needs to make money for there to be more content in the future, right? If they put that money that they made for some of those skins towards like a bigger DLC or a bigger update in the future, then it would make more sense. And it's not to say that on the side they couldn't have something like a free battle pass as well. A lot of games have free battle passes where the paid one comes with a couple of exclusive skins, right? At the end of the day, skins are like that thing that are cool to look at, but not necessary for the game to be playable. You know, it's cool to have a skin here and there that would be paid for, doesn't need to be bought. And of course, a lot of people have that fear of missing out, but that's life, right? A lot of people are going to have that in life in general. If you want to pay for it, it'll be there for you to pay for it, but it doesn't affect the game at all. I usually much prefer those over something like a pay-to-win weapon that does a shit ton of damage, or a spell here and there. Like, I don't really fuck with that type of battle pass system or pay-to-win system, but something like a skin here and there would have been something that I really liked from this game. And I think it could have done it really well, but like I said, the audience was just not right for it. When the DLC came out for this game and it was 15 bucks and it came with 2 characters, a whole new map, a couple new bosses, people were complaining that it just wasn't enough. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, you know, some people's opinions aren't valid. I think they could have done so much more, but at the end of the day, it was $15. Some people go out and spend less on a freaking burger for that, you know what I mean? So to spend $15 to get a couple of hours of entertainment, for me, was definitely worth it. Now, like I said, there could still be so much more that could be done with this game. I think that the missed potential of having a lot more enemies from previous Souls games, because this is what this is, right? This is what this game is, and I feel like they needed to embrace that more. They needed to jump into it more to be like, okay, this is where we're just gonna fuck around. Don't worry so much about the lore. We're putting all these bosses in from previous Souls games in, all these enemies in here. Like, imagine how cool it would have been to have on the map like a little area that was like Anor Londo, and you go into it and it's all Silver Knights, it's all Black Knights from Dark Souls 3, it's all different bosses and different mini bosses from a bunch of different games from the Souls series. I think they needed to jump into that a lot more than they actually did. They did it very light, you know. I think they had a couple here and there which are really cool. It's always cool to see like the Smelter Demon, and it was cool as fuck to see like Artorias in the new DLC, but they could have done so much more, especially with like smaller enemies. They kind of really only did a lot of Elden Ring enemies It would have been so much cooler to see a lot more variety, and I know a lot of people agree with that. But what can we have in the future that would kind of guarantee that people play it more? And again, this is another word that people hate, but a live service type of game for this game. I think they could do it really well, and not something that is even paid for. I would say similar to what Monster Hunter does. Monster Hunter has so many updates, and they're all free, by the way. Tons of new monsters every month or so, every couple months. They have events, they have challenges that you can go for, they have new stuff that you can always earn basically at any point in time over the course of the year. If Nightreign did something like that, and every once in a while they did new skins, new bosses that came out, like a new challenge mode, new stuff that you can earn, I would absolutely love that. I want more stuff to earn. You know, I want to be able to grind for something that isn't just like a badge next to your name to get into depth 5. One of my favorite points in time for Nightreign was when all the Deep of Night, or excuse me, all the hard mode bosses were coming out. Because we were getting the hard mode boss 1 week, and then being able to just fight the boss for, I would spend at least like 3 days fighting the bosses with a bunch of different characters, with viewers, playing it solo, trying to fight it for the first time, doing different challenges, and then I go, okay, I'm gonna go play something else for a little bit, and then I would come back a couple days later because there would be something new to fight. That was the most entertaining point for Nightreign, in my opinion, other than obviously when the game came out in the beginning, when you were kind of still in that learning phase for the map and everything. But when you constantly have a reason to come back, the game is just so much more fun. The game is so much more lively. People are so much more excited to watch the game and play the game. So to have a similar update system that you have for like Monster Hunter, where it's sort of live service but sort of not live service. You know, the reason Monster Hunter is able to have a lot of those live service additions that are all free, and I get that, right, is because they do have paid content on the side. They do have paid skins here and there. You know, would Nightreign have to do that so that they can fund a lot of the stuff? Maybe, I don't know. The game honestly did pretty well. The DLC did pretty well. They could have a couple months where maybe they can have some new stuff, some new updates like that for free entirely. But I'm sure at some point it would probably have to come to like, there's a paid skin here that costs $5. If you want to buy it, you can. You don't have to, but it would help fund all the other free stuff. I can see that, and I can see why a lot of companies do that. I don't know if Nightreign would go that route, but honestly, I think the whole free updates, constant updates, maybe even like once a month, similar to Monster Hunter, where they have different like Christmas events and Halloween events. Like, how fucking cool would it be to come to the main hub in Nightreign and everything's decorated and covered in Christmas ornaments and or Halloween ornaments and stuff. You know, I think that would be so cool for the game, and I could see that being a thing that they do. But it's just hard to know if the audience would take to it, right? Would they think it's just so silly? Because you listen, some Souls fans, man, listen, I love you guys, but some people take this shit way too seriously. I think this game needs to be what it is, which is just a game where we can all fuck around in, and they can kind of go wild with it. And I wish they would have done that more, to be honest, when it comes to like I said, the enemies and the boss fights from different Souls games, and have a little bit more variety in there. I think it would have helped nurture the game, and I think it does have like a healthy player base right now, but it can be way more. Now, the question is obviously, will we get all that in 2026, or will it be just straight up let to die because we know we have another game coming out soon, which is Duskbloods. Obviously, Duskbloods is coming out this year, but that also does kind of leave the question open about Duskbloods. Like, what are they going to be doing for that game to keep it alive? Is it going to be similar to this, where you're going to have like updates for about a few months, and then it's just going to be like, okay, well, you guys have fun, we're going to work on the next game? Or will it be constant updates? You know, even, you know, like I said, even something like a free battle pass, or even a paid battle pass, something similar, live service where you get free stuff. Who knows? I would love to see that for Nightreign, and I guess we'll see what the future is for this game. I just think, in my opinion, something like that would help nurture this game and help keep it alive, because I'm still enjoying it, and from the looks of it, people seem to still be enjoying watching the game. So I'd love to hear you guys' opinions as well. Leave it in the comments what you guys think. Do you think this game would do well with something like a live service with constant updates, or do you think that just wouldn't fly with the Souls community? Because I know a lot of people have strong opinions about like live services and battle passes and stuff like that, but I'd love to hear you guys' opinions, so let me know in the comments. I appreciate you guys watching. Just wanted to talk a little bit about some Nightreign while I show you guys some Nightreign gameplay in the back. Anyways, enjoy the rest of your day. I appreciate you watching. Leave a like if you made it this far, by the way. I appreciate it very much. Alright, have yourselves a good one. See you all in the next one. Bye-bye.